Today we are going to turn GSP, or gouged, shaped, and profiled cane, into a mummy. So I have everything that I'm going to need in front of me, including my forming mandrel, pencil, ruler, razor blade, easel, sandpaper, both 400 and 600 grit, my cotton twine, and my drying rack. And this is what we are creating here. All right, so first things first, I'm going to take my 400 grit sandpaper and very gently sand the inside of this piece of cane. This makes the inside like glass, so our air doesn't get caught up in anything. This creates a much clearer tone. This is the only time we have access to the inside of the reed, so it's important we take care of it now. I'm following up my 400 grit with 600 grit. The 400 grit evens out the fibers. The 600 grit acts as a polisher. So, wow, smooth, nice. Now I'm going to take my GSP and place it on my easel as such. I'm going to do a few preventative measures here. One, I'm going to score the bark so that when we take this and round it up, it doesn't crack. I don't want to score right in the middle because that will actually cause a crack. So I'm going to go one on either side of the middle. Okay? Then I'm going to go two on either side of those. This will help the reed round up without having unnecessary cracks in the blade. I'm going to turn around and do the same thing on this end. One on either side of the middle, two on either side of that for a total of 6. All right, looking good. The next thing I want to do, you can see there's excess cane here, right at the collar. The collar's where the bark and the blade meet, and there's just gunk. We want to clean that up. We want to be very careful. I'm using a razor blade that's quite sharp, so I want to be careful not to get over here and create a leak. Rather, I'm just going to make a score mark right at the collar, and I'm mainly focusing on the mid part, not the corners. So I have a nice score mark there. Now I'm going to, you could tell I'm almost at a flat angle to the reed with the razor blade, and I'm just going to catch that extra cane and wiggle down into it so I have a nice straight line from my blade into my collar. To see all that extra cane still there, I'm going to go over my score mark again and then come under the cane again, and I'll keep repeating this action until the cane comes off, like you just saw. I'm going to clean this up just a little. Again, almost flat. You don't want to dig in, then you're going to have a hole in the back of your reed and you won't be able to play any high notes. Do the same thing over here. Nice score mark. And now I'm going to come underneath. There's just a slope of cane, and I'm just grabbing that slope and wiggling down to the score mark. Then I'll reinforce the score mark. Go under the cane again and repeat this process until that excess cane comes off. Okay. Looking good. I have a little extra piece of cane here. Okay, next up, I need to bevel. Beveling, we do a one-sided bevel that's going to take off, there's 4 corners here, 2 inside corners, 2 outside corners. Beveling is going to take off one of the inside corners so that when we fit the cane together, it completes a nice circle. Beveling serves other purposes to help with response as well, and intonation. However, visually, it's about a seal. So I'm going to measure here 3/8 of an inch, which is a medium bevel, and draw a line. I measured that from the butt. I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing. Three-eighths of an inch. Now, I'm going to hold my razor blade on the inside corner at about a 45-degree angle. You can see there's about 45 degrees. Okay, and I'm going to slice off that inside corner. I'm right-handed, so I did it on the right side. So you can see you can see where I took off some cane there. It's a different color. And I'll show you the edge if I can. Yeah, see how one side is now a sharp angle? Okay. Now, I did that on the right side. That's it. I'm going to turn the cane around and do it on this right side. So there's one side per stretch of cane. Oh, I already measured it. So here's my 45-degree angle to the inside corner. And I didn't get a very good amount, so I'm going to slice that off and again check that I have a nice angle, which I do. All right, so I'm nice and beveled. At this point, I'm going to drop my cane back in my water over here, and I'm going to take my cotton twine and I'm going to pull off, I don't know, maybe 3 feet worth, so that I have a nice piece of string here. I'm going to find the middle of the string. So here's the middle of it. There's the loop of the middle. Okay, and I'm going to keep that handy. Now I'm going to take my wonderful cane here. I'm going to see where you can tell where the mid mark is on the blade. I'm going to take my ruler and fold the cane over my ruler. And I'll move my ruler. Now it's starting to look like a reed. I want to make sure that my collars line up. They do. And I'm going to make sure my sides are together. Now I'm going to take my loop and I'm going to put it about halfway down the blade. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to make a crisscross with my string. So you can see that this side is on top and this side is being held down. Since it's being held down, I'm going to put it off to the top, to the side for a minute. What I want to do now is take my string, and it's taut, right? There's no slack in the string, but I'm not pulling. I'm not pulling tight. It's just no slack. And I'm going to wrap this piece of string down the entire tube. And then back up a few. Okay, so it's now looks like this. Now, this string, you notice when I go to wrap it, it's going the opposite direction. That's great because that's going to help prevent slipping blades, which we all hate. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this string, and I'm going to, there's just no slack, but I'm not pulling super tight. And I'm going to wrap it all the way down to the bottom and come back up a few. Then I'll tie these two strings together so it doesn't come undone. Now, I like to tie it on both sides so that there's not more pressure on one side than the other. All right, there we go, looking good. Now I'm going to drop this back in the water, and I'm going to grab my forming mandrel. I'm going to wiggle my forming mandrel into the butt of the reed. Okay, so it's just barely in there. I'm going to hold the reed by the sides, but I'm not squeezing. I'm just simply holding it. And I'm going to use my forming mandrel and I'm going to twist it back and forth all the way down to my line, okay? Don't be alarmed if you see something like this. See that crack? That's not a crack, that's just a score mark opening up. Now, you may notice if you look at the side, that the sides aren't together. That's okay, just all the score markings haven't been opened up yet. So we're actually gonna take a pair of pliers, which I forgot to say we needed. Here we go. We're gonna take a pair of pliers. Never ever go side to side. Bad, evil, okay? We wanna stay top to bottom. But the surface area of top to bottom is not just here. I can be like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So I can go all around the reed, just not side to side. So I'm gonna do that. I'm barely using any force. I'm just doing it to open the score marks, which you can see here. And I even turn it around, I don't know why, I guess it doesn't matter, and do it this way too. And I'm gonna do that until I'm pleased that the sides are coming together. Again, this is not about crushing the cane. It's simply opening up these score marks that are underneath. In addition to not going side to side, you wanna make sure that you're not doing this with the pliers up here. You wanna stay from about halfway down the tube or a quarter of a way down the entire blade. And that makes sure that you don't create any cracks in the blade of the reed. So, I've got this. This is looking good. It's a nice looking mummy. Now, two options. If you're working with a pin, you can pull your pin out of the holder and put it in the drying rack. If you're not, you want to really quickly move your mummy to the drying rack. So I'm going to hold it by its sides and very quickly put it on the drying rack. Voila, done.